Wow.
And we are recording. And we're in the company of Nils and Kosta from Free League, which is absolutely brilliant, isn't it, Dave?
It is. I was going to say, so hello and welcome to what is a very exciting and very special edition of Creators in the Hammam for Effect here, with two of my favorite people in the gaming industry, Nils, Karlen and Kosta Kostulas. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's nice to be on the podcast.
Yeah, it's lovely to have you here. So you're here to talk about some super thrilling news that you announced earlier today. But first, I just want to very briefly and quickly take you back to May 2017, when Matthew and I started a little podcast that was called the Coriolis Effect, and we created that thanks to our love for a game called Coriolis: The Third Horizon. Here we are, 7 years later. Now we're foaming at the mouth, waiting to hear more about the new game, Coriolis: The Great Dark. So welcome to the show and tell us everything.
Is it that long ago? I didn't know it was 2017. That's a long time ago.
It is 7 years. 7 years.
I remember you guys interviewed us in a pub in the old town in Stockholm.
The old Bishop's Arms in Gamla Stan. Yeah, I remember that night really well. That was a great night, and you guys were very generous and paid for us, which was even better.
Yes, we did. Which, given Swedish beer prices, that means something.
Which meant we could get the plane home, because otherwise we'd have been stuck in Stockholm forever.
But we're like super excited as well, because for me and Kosta at least, Coriolis was the beginning of Free League.
For everybody, it was the beginning.
Yeah, for everybody basically.
Yeah.
I mean, as you know, Free League, the name is from the faction in the game.
Coriolis.
The logo is kind of related as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of coming back full circle for us to be able to do like this new game for Coriolis. What do you say, Kosta?
Okay, let's talk about this new game. Let's ask you, Kosta. How new is it? You talk about it in your press release earlier today. You talk about it being a spiritual sequel. A spiritual sequel to the Third Horizon. Is it actually a sequel? Can I take my character from the Third Horizon into the new Lost Horizon and play them there?
You actually can.
You actually can.
Yeah.
It's kind of a long story how you do it, but you can. Yes.
But it will be possible.
Yes. But with that said, it is a new setting.
Yeah.
This is not the Third Horizon. It's very, very much tied into the Third Horizon and the old game, and everything is like kind of extrapolated from that game. But it is a new Horizon, which we call the Lost Horizon.
Yeah.
But you could call the Fourth Horizon.
Yeah. Right.
So, but yes, the answer to your question is yes.
Yeah. And can you tell us anything about how that has been found? Is there a portal that takes you there? Is there something else in the backstory? How do we get there?
You actually have to take a long voyage through flat space to reach the Lost Horizon. So there's no turning back.
Right. Okay. Cool. And was
that when you say long voyage? Is this like the original Nadir, the flights of the Nadir and the Zenith?
No. Not really, because and this is something we explore in the game. There is some kind of phenomena that this fleet that leaves the Third Horizon experiences that makes them come to this new horizon. And that's something that's one of the plot points of the game, actually. And the people leaving the Third Horizon, if you read the last episode of the campaign, Merge of the Icons, it's all in there when they leave.
I'm still playing that. So
it's
kind of the
I have read it. Dave has it, and we haven't got around to actually starting that volume yet. So we're going to have to hurry now. We're going to get a move on.
It's not a major plot point.
No, it's not a plot point to the story of the third part of Mercy.
No,
but it in the what do you call it? Epilogue. We discuss what happens after.
Right. Right.
And this builds into that.
I seem to remember that there's a particular fleet mentioned, and I wonder whether it'll be that fleet that goes to the fourth world. Excellent.
Could be.
But it's not as long as if you remember, it took them half a millennia to reach. From the first to the third.
Yeah,
and it's not that time span.
No.
Right, but as you say, there's no quick way back.
No.
So if you wanted to go back to the third horizon, you've got to turn your ship around and fly back the same way.
Yeah.
Right. Cool.
Yep.
It's spiritual in the way that we continue. We close the arc that Mercy of the Icons was, and we move on to other enigmas described in Coriolis, the first edition.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe we could explain a bit more, because there was a blueprint for Coriolis: The Third Horizon from the beginning, back from 2008, and that was the Mercy of the Icon meta plot. And when that was resolved, that was kind of the story that was envisioned for this setting.
Right.
But as Kosta said, there are several big mysteries that is not resolved. We won't maybe mention all of them, because that could be a spoiler for if you haven't played the campaign. But this game actually goes straight for those mysteries, and goes very much straight into them. And it's the mystery for us. One of the core things of Coriolis has been the mystery at the heart of the setting. It's mystery, it's sense of wonder, it's cultures, and so on. And these kind of mysteries and secrets is what we're trying to explore even more in the Great Dark than we did in the Third Horizon.
And we move into what we wanted to explore when we wrote the Rimworld Reach, was that kind of mystery, and now we can move into that.
Right.
I was wondering whether this is a little bit of, because in a way, if I recall correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, you're a lot closer to this than I, that the first incarnation of Jan Ringen had kind of plotted out the campaign for Mercy of the Icons.
Yeah.
And back then you were just fans on a bulletin board enjoying the game, and disappointed when Jan Ringen 1 decided to hang up their coats and go back to their day jobs. And you carried it on. But yeah, you did create the Rimworld Reach, and that became very kind of Firefly-esque Western style. I remember you mentioning Kosta.
Yeah.
Is this now your expansion? Is this, if you like, Re-League's version of Coriolis coming to the fore?
Actually, no, I think, because we have a third person, which is part of the core team, which is Martin Grip, and he was the original part of the original crew. So I would say this is actually
symbiosis.
It's much more. It's 50% original Jan Ringen, 50% Free League vision. But this is kind of the true synthesis. How do you say?
Yeah, some symbiosis.
Yeah.
Compared to, we did the Free League version, which went more to a Firefly-esque way, as you said, and the original, which was quite a lot of intrigue and factional stuff, and had a lot of different things going on. So we kind of
we're trying to marry those two. And actually, as you said, 7 years has gone since then. So new ideas have. We've got a new influences too during the road.
Yeah.
So in the new world of the Lost Horizon, do we still have the influence of the icons?
Yes, but not in the way you think.
What do I think?
It's a part of the plot and of the game, but it's a post icon setting, if you will.
Right.
There's still icon worship. There's still people tied to that faith and religion and everything, but it has taken another form. It's not the same form as in the Third Horizon, because some time has passed. Not that much time, but some time.
Right. So is there a prayer mechanic still?
No.
We don't push through prayer. Oh no, I'm walking out now.
The game is not. This game is not about that. This game has a different angle.
Yeah.
Right.
Now I did see in that blurb that hope, the word hope, had a capital letter. And I'm wondering whether the push mechanic might be related to Hope then in this new game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That wouldn't be a spoiler
No,
to say.
no. Hope is hope is it's a somewhat bleak setting, but it's about hope, and it's about building something and finding a way forward.
Yeah, and working as a crew or as a group to overcome the obstacles that the game set in your path.
Yeah, it's a very group-centric, collaborative game. It's a game where you kind of, if you, for example, compare it to Alien, where you have these different agendas and you can backstab each other. This is not that game. In this game, you need to help each other. You need to work together, and you need to kind of build your hope and strive forward. So it's a kind of an optimistic setting in one way, but it's also pretty bleak.
Right. So this is a way I often describe one of your other games, although not an original Freely game, but the One Ring. I often tell people it's a game about hope versus despair, and it sounds a little bit like this might also be a game about hope versus despair.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't be wrong. No. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's so much more as well. It's not. It's one of the pillars. Absolutely.
You also talk about wonder in the press release, and again, is that one of the key planks of the game as well as hope? The kind of exploring the wonders of the Lost
sense
Horizon?
of wonder feeling. We want you to explore new stuff that you haven't seen before and be awed, but what kind of stuff you can find in this Lost Horizon left by others.
Yeah, it's a lot about sense of wonder in a classical sci-fi sense. When you read these kind of classic Rendezvous with Rama or these classic sci-fi novels from the 50s, but up till today. And this kind of really sci-fi thing where you kind of get your hair stand on your arm, and it's something like you couldn't imagine before. That's kind of a feeling we want to dive into in this game. A little bit more than the other game, which was more kind of like static in a way. And this way, we wanted to bring up the sci-fi-ness, the sense of wonder, the mysticism.
And that existed too in
it was
the Third Horizon,
Yeah.
and we explored parts of that when we wrote the Rimwood Reach.
Yeah,
because we've always been keen to those kind of themes, so to say.
Yeah.
But the big arc of the Third Horizon was the Mercy of the Icons campaign.
So maybe that wonder element didn't get quite as much time in the limelight as you'd hoped for, and that's where the Lost Horizon is going to fill that gap, hopefully.
Yeah, and as Kosta said, I mean, the Rimwood Reach was really, I would say, it's kind of a blueprint in one way of this game. It's not at all. It's not identical in any way, but there are stuff there which is kind of followed to this game, and then we have the original Coriolis as well, of course.
I mean, that was far away from the core of the QA system at the end of civilization, so to say, and now we moved across flat space for tens of years to get to a new place where nobody has been before.
It's a more frontier setting.
Right. Yeah. Now, so that touches on on the first question I asked, can I take my old character? But are all the characters from the Third Horizon, or when we've traveled across flat space, do we meet some new character opportunities in the Lost Horizon?
That is, well, how should we answer this? They are from the Third Horizon.
So the people that colonize the Lost Horizon, the ones you start with, are all from the Third Horizon, but a few generations have passed. So what was factual in the Third Horizon has become myth or legend, or stuff that your granddaddy or grandmom talked about,
which all the youngsters kind of don't believe anymore. And
this is actually one of the big points of this game, that the Third Horizon was built around the concept that it was built on the myths from old Earth. And you had this that kind of powered the mythology of the Third Horizon. And in the Great Dark, the Third Horizon has become myth in this setting. So it's kind of another step. So you still have those myths that they had in the Third Horizon, but it's kind of further removed, and you have all the stuff that happened in the adventures you played. Those are kind of legends and myths now, and have affected the society and the culture.
So you talk about the Great Dark. Does that mean the darkness between the stars still has an important part to play in the new edition?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we won't go into how.
No, but but the Great Dark is also kind of in this game we kind of see space as a vast ocean. Yeah. It's very much inspired by like 19th century polar exploration, where space is harsh and difficult, and it takes time to traverse it. One thing we can spoil is that in the Lost Horizon is called the Lost Horizon because the portals are dead. So that's why it is a different horizon to experience and explore, and that's one of the plot points of the setting.
So you have to set out on expeditions to reach new systems. You don't just jump.
Yeah, so traveling between systems is a big deal. It's not something.
It's a big deal. It's possible, and you do it, but it's much more difficult, and it's a much more of an adventure. It's not this instantaneous kind of teleportation that it is in the Third Horizon.
Yeah, cool.
That is very interesting. Sorry.
I was just going to say, so you then also talk about mighty great ships. Now, presumably, these are the ships that you travel from the Third Horizon to the Lost Horizon in, and then these are the ships that you explore the Lost Horizon as are they your base, effectively, your kind of like your community?
No, not. So they are a new thing that you built when you reached the Lost Horizon.
Right.
To be able to go on those long expeditions to find new systems.
Yeah. Right. So they're not the same ships as the ones that you ride with, and they're not at the same. They're not like the Ark in the Mutant. They're your base, but what they are is big ships that you venture out on expeditions, and you have a larger pool of people on them. Explorers, it could be crew, it could be different factions and so on, and they are a place for adventure. Yeah. So it's a way of, when you're traveling out, you're still going to have intrigues and stuff on the great ships. So one of the major changes is it's less Firefly-esque and more the terror, maybe.
Right. Yeah. So are these great ships like miniature Coriolises, but they can fly around?
Not really.
Not really? No?
I mean,
okay.
They're large tankers, or 300 meters, 400 meters, something like that.
Yeah.
Like bulk freighters in large ships, but you need them to cross the space, to cross to new systems.
Yeah, right. The Coriolis of this setting is actually, it has a direct connection to Coriolis, the Coriolis station, and that is the ship city. It is the capital, the station where everything is based from, and that is where it's like an asteroid where you have the remains of the fleet that you have built like a society around. Which fills exactly the same purpose as Coriolis did, and it has kind of a vision of becoming the new Coriolis.
Yeah. And the banner you showed was actually the silhouette of Ship City in the background.
Do you want to pop that up, Matthew? Yeah, we haven't showed that quite yet.
If we're looking at that first, this will fill the screen. So this is the splash page at the top of your press release.
Yeah.
And so you're saying that this behind this,
the asteroid in the background,
that is Ship City. Yeah.
That is the Ship City, and that's nice. Coriolis in this new horizon.
It is. It's actually. Well, this is a long story, and it's because there are different factions in this game, and one of the factions in this game is called the Coriolites, and that is kind of a sect who kind of worships everything from the Third Horizon, and is really into all the old mythology, all the old religion, all that stuff.
Right.
And they're very important in this setting. So they want to bring the old into the new and so on. So they call this station for. They have a longer name for it, but one of the things is it's called Coriolis as well.
So if you're a real fan of the old game and you're a little bit unsure about this new game, you're going to be part of that faction, I guess.
Yes, exactly. If you can't leave the Third Horizon behind, we have several solutions for you. But one of them is becoming a Coriolis.
Nice. Cool.
Excellent. And let's just have a look at. Since we're talking about ships, let me just show you another one, and you can explain this. So it's going to obscure most of us. I think I can move over here. and Dave move over there. So
they get to see everybody except the people they want to see.
Yeah.
It's not sure this is
so
working,
so this blue ship at the bottom of the and we ought to say you haven't just announced the game, but you've announced the first part, I guess, or at least an adventure, if not the first part of a campaign.
It's actually a complete campaign in the box. It's not the first part. It's a campaign.
We're not gonna do 7 parts for 7 years.
No. So this is a complete campaign in a box, and it will explore possibly the biggest enigma in the Coriolis universe. Which
is the enigma of the portal builders, surely.
Well, it could be one of two things, I would say.
Oh well, if it's not the portal builders, it'll be the fate of the lost Nadir.
Well, bingo. No, but seriously, so I would say that we have the portal builders is very, very, very central to this game as well. It's
the mystery about them.
The godlike creatures you're talking about are the portal builders, presumably.
Yes.
Cool.
One would assume.
Yeah, one would assume. This is very much about exploring all the backstory that is hinted at in the old game, but this is kind of goes back to the core of that, well, it's gonna be something you explore in play.
So you talked about the Coriolites or the Coriolites, not the Coriolisites. And obviously, you say we're a few generations on from the people who left the Third Horizon. Do we still have reflections of the old factions going on in the new game, or are they all now changed subtly or different? Have those factions died out?
They're sort of mixed into other factions and into the Coriolites. And
so for fans of all the old factions, then you do get some of that still in the new game.
Yeah, but you get new factions. Yeah, but not as many.
Yeah, and the new factions are based on the old ones, but they changed the names and so on. So it has been we've taken the old ones and we kind of extrapolated that and
they've evolved.
Yeah. So it's another. They're not called the same thing, but you will recognize parts and stuff everywhere. We have some really cool, I think, Easter eggs. For example, we have organizations from the Third Horizon who has transformed very much. In the new game, but it still kind of makes sense in the setting.
Organizations that were part of factions,
have kind of become factions themselves in the new game. Nice.
So it's I mean, Coriolis has always been a lot about culture and kind of this melting pot thing, and the Great Arc is the same, but it's not identical to the old one. We try to evolve it, but still have the same feeling. So it's a lot of stuff is new, but you will recognize a lot of stuff, and there's all that back reference to the old stuff as well.
If you're an old fan, you will find a lot of things to recognize, and you will notice the Easter eggs. If you're a new fan, you have a whole new horizon to explore.
If you're a new fan, you need to go back and get the original Coriolis after you've played Dark. The Great Dark.
You joke, Dave, but actually, I've seen a lot of people on social media complaining they can't get Coriolis, the Third Horizon. It's out of print here, there, and everywhere. Is that going to see a reprint? Because you talk about these two games being standalone, or is now Coriolis, the Third Horizon only available to those of us that already have it? Or
that's a good question. Yeah, I don't think we have a final answer to that. No. It will be available for sure. If it's in print or if it's in PDF or whatever form, we don't know. It will be available. It won't go away. One thing we do as well, will announce or has announced when you hear this, is that we open up both Coriolis the Great Dark and Coriolis the Third Horizon to the open license. So
tell us some more about that. I was going to ask you about that. Obviously.
So both the old setting and the new setting will be completely free to produce settings for not setting material, modules, adventures, sell and do whatever you want, exactly as with Dragonbane. So
nice.
So
nice.
we
So
hope
like
that
the Dragonbane license, and you'll have a made for Coriolis logo that people can use,
and that will affect both the old game and the new game. We will focus on Coriolis the Great Dark. That's kind of the focus we're taking right now. The Third Horizon will still exist. You can still play in it, and we hope that fans still make stuff for that. So it's going to be open.
Because I mean, it doesn't. The Third Horizon doesn't end with Merge of the Icons, but we won't explore it anymore. But it's open to all the people that played there to explore it and continue the saga.
People that have created their own settings, a bit like you did with the Rimwood Reach. They can now publish those bits of the Third Horizon themselves. So great fun. Brilliant.
Yeah, we've got tons of stuff we've done over the years. Should package that up and get it out.
I'm just quickly going through. You've answered most of my questions. Oh no, but except for the big one, you talk about this being a revised version of the Year Zero engine, specially made like you always do for the game. What are some of the changes that we can see between this version of? I mean, obviously, we've already discussed prayer not being a mechanic anymore. But what are some of the other differences between the new version and the old rules for Coriolis: The Third Horizon?
It's quite a lot.
Yeah.
It is a more streamlined engine than the Third Horizon. I mean, what you should know is that the Third Horizon engine was the second iteration of the Year Zero engine we ever did. And it has, even though it's lots of good things in it, it has some stuff that worked less well. In this iteration we tried to really emulate kind of the feeling and the world and the setting we're going for. So it's a more streamlined core engine, which means that there's a bit less crunch, a bit more fast and fluid gameplay. And we put some crunch in the bits where we think is very important for this game. And that's especially exploration, delving,
expeditions,
and also we have mystical powers, which are special. They're different in this game than the last game.
That was my next question. Do we still have just can you say anything else about the new evolution of the mystical power side of the game, or
maybe we'll leave that?
We're on to something here because they don't want to talk. So
no, but it's actually the mystical powers is as if you played the old game, and we can't spoil too much, but they have like a story reason for existing, that reason is not the same in this Horizon. There is a reason, and it has another expression, another
not game mechanic, but another way.
But we can say one thing, and that is that you might have seen on the images that some of them have birds in them.
There's a lot of birds.
Those birds are very special, and those birds have some special powers. And that's part of the background and of the setting. So
I'm assuming this is a bird on top of this fellow's staff up here, for example.
Could be. We have to ask Martin about that.
Or is that just a shadow?
And are these mystical birds, or are these birds that have been discovered in the Lost Horizon? Is there something else you can tell us about that?
They've been discovered there.
Right.
They were there.
They're very strange birds.
So if that does bring you on to another question I was going to ask, which is are they supernatural in the way that the some of the creatures in the Coriolis: The Third Horizon were supernatural?
I know, genie and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do those still exist? Those kind of Jinn and dark morph creatures, do they still exist in your in the Lost Horizon?
In a way.
I mean, they're mystical the way that Arthur C. Clarke said that technology would seem like magic to
magic. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, maybe.
Right. Interesting.
I think what this game does a bit more than the Third Horizon does is maybe tie everything together in the back end. So there's a much more kind of I wouldn't say meta plot. That's wrong because that's another thing. But it's a structure to it. It's a logical reason to it, and it has some kind of sense of wonder thing behind the.
But there are definitely mystical ideas or properties to a lot of stuff going on that people will learn by playing the campaign.
Yeah. I mean, and some of that. Sorry, Nils, go on.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say some of that, like you were saying, Kosta, the idea that it looks mystical to us as the players and the characters, but actually there might be a technological reason behind it that's so advanced we can't tell the difference.
Yeah. Might be.
Yeah. I mean that's part of the game of kind of delving into that and where everything comes from, and so it's a lot about uncovering mysteries.
Yeah,
mysteries within mysteries.
Yeah,
like Russian dolls.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil everything,
No. No, we just want a scoop. That's what So I have another question. So in Coriolis, the Third Horizon, you don't really have anything in the way of alien species that you come across. You have things like the Skavara and
the semi-intelligences.
Yeah, the Nakatra and the like. Are there going to be alien species in the Lost Horizon?
That's also a plot point.
Yeah,
I believe that. Actually, I think that's one of the core things of the game. We want to make the kind of the cool things in the setting be something you explore in play, like almost from the start.
Yeah.
So it's a bit less front-loaded, maybe than Coriolis Third Horizon, but it's a lot more, in the back. There's lots of stuff here waiting to be explored.
Yeah.
So there might be not.
I mean, there are not any aliens in Ship City.
No,
living amongst humans.
So. It's a very much a human-centric setting.
Yeah. But there might be alien life out there to be discovered.
I mean, one of the big things, and this is not a spoiler, is that there's a big exploration part of the game, and that is exploring ruins left by the builders, which is, you can imagine who they are called in the Third Horizon. And that's kind of, that's one of the major things you do is kind of find out stuff about them.
Yeah.
So there's remnants of something that is not human, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So if could we kind of liken, the portal builder remnants in the Third Horizon are kind of like, the odd archaeological find. The remnants in the Lost Horizon is more like Pompeii or Herculaneum.
Yeah,
where there's a lot more to uncover.
It's much closer to home. It's much more closer to the center of where they came from.
Right. Cool.
So
that sounds very good.
Don't spoil too much. Anyway, there'll be a lot of ruins and monuments to find.
Yeah.
In the Lost
Horizon.
Excellent. Obviously we've got the scoop with this one, but I'm sure lots of people watching this have got questions of their own to ask you. We should say that if they're watching this on Tuesday, then tomorrow, Wednesday, they can join the Free League Lounge with Eleanor.
Yeah.
And are you both going to be on that show as well?
We're both going to be on that one, and we're going to take all the questions. So we're going to have to answer everything.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. And if you're listening to this on our podcast, that was 2 weeks ago, mate, you've lost it.
Yeah. Cool.
I think I have one final question for Kosta, but before I ask that, I just want to check, Dave, whether you've got anything else you want to ask them.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a bit obvious what his question is, isn't it? He's asked it I don't know how many times over the years. No, I think that's all my questions for today. But absolutely, delighted to hear this announcement. Brilliant stuff. We've been waiting for it for a long time, and all the very best with it. But let's go over to Matthew's really obvious and boring final question.
Kosta, is there going to be a cookbook for this new edition of Coriolis?
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
That's no, isn't it? That's a big no.
You should observe that it is not a no.
Okay, it's not a no.
It's not a no.
New horizon, new food.
Yeah.
And I guess we should briefly say that this then, you're kickstarting this, if people haven't seen the press release, you're kickstarting this from the 19th of March, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And actually, when we kickstart it, there will be a fully playable quick start as well, with an adventure and a very trimmed down version of the rules and a very, very trimmed down version of the setting. So already, like in a month, you will be able to kind of do your first delve into the Third Horizon.
Yeah.
I mean, the Lost Horizon.
Oh, that's a bit. We can hang on. We can edit that bit out.
And then we'll release an alpha PDF later.
Yeah,
with all the stuff.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah.
Before we.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and then we're gonna release the core book and the campaign box at the same time. So there will be a campaign playable from day one.
Nice.
So we're very looking forward to kind of letting players explore this setting.
Really brilliant.
We're very excited to explore it. And Dave,
we too.
I should also add one thing. This has been kind of a passion project for me and Kosta and Martin Grip for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And it's been like so much fun to work with.
Yeah.
And it's been
nice.
we dived into all the old stuff and we looked at our old notes and adventures and trying to see where we could take it. And I think that this is a really cool game.
Yeah, it is. It is. So a lot of stuff we thought about in 2017 and haven't used.
Yeah.
With us.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, we've kept the faith, but I know that a lot of people on social media have been saying, they've got bored of Coriolis. They're never going to update it again. And Dave and I, we've always known that, this is your first love, a bit like it's ours now, 7 years
and also
later.
I think
you're not going to give Coriolis up.
No, we're not going to give it up. And I think one of the beauties with having the Third Horizon and now the Lost Horizon is this kind of expands the setting, and it kind of makes it much more. It's both like a vast scope of the setting, but also that the history, you play the history in the Third Horizon, and then you play the future kind of in this game. And it ties together, and there's lots of things that ties together, and it's kind of, I think, makes it like a setting which has some kind of depth to it. Which
just building on the kind of the mythology all the way.
Yeah.
Nice, love it.
So we haven't scrapped anything. It's all the old stuff is there. It's just in another light.
But if you're a new player, you can start straight with the Great Arc. You don't have to, you're not front loaded by having to read all the old stuff to begin with.
Because you've got two. Yeah, because you get what you need of the myths and the legends from the Third Horizon in the setting background for the Lost Horizon.
Yeah.
And then once you played that, you can buy Coriolis, the Third Horizon, and go back and play all that.
Yes.
It's a win-win for everyone.
Like a never-ending loop.
Yeah, exactly. Brilliant.
It's been a real pleasure talking with you again, Niels Kosta. We're really looking forward to it. What else can we say, Dave?
Other than thanks for coming on the show, guys. It's been a delight to chat to you, as always. And if you need us to help you give any more scoops over the next few months, then we are here to help. That sounds cool. Brilliant. Thanks so much for joining us, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
And thank you to everybody watching the recording as well.
Yes.